Grandma and Grandpa are wonderful farmers, and they grow lots of vegetables on their farm. And the people who live nearby, they love Grandma and Grandpa because Grandma and Grandpa grow more vegetables than they can eat. They grow more vegetables than they can sell at the market. And they always give the extra away to people who live nearby. So Grandma and Grandpa are very important to the community. Everyone pays attention to Grandma and Grandpa. One day Grandpa got up and said, I'd like to plant something different. Can you say that nice and loud?
I'd like to plant something different.
So he came over to his father's farm, and he dug a hole right there. You dig a hole right there? And then he planted this turnip bulb into the hole. Go ahead and toss that in there. Cover it over. Stop it down. Very good. Now, Grandpa is a very good farmer, and all good farmers know that every living thing needs attention. And whatever we pay attention to in life is what grows. So he decided to pay attention to that turnip. He decided to talk to the turnip.
Hi, Turnip.
And this is the important thing. What he told the turnip was, turnip grows sweet and juicy.
Turnip grows sweet and juicy.
All right, I need someone else to help with the story. Let's see here. Brett Favre, number 4. Come on up here. Good to see you, Brett. I know you've retired finally. Okay, now let's see. You're going to stand right over here because, well, I have a question to ask you. Do you have any brothers and sisters?
Yeah.
Okay. So in order to get what you want at home, sometimes you have to be a little stubborn, right? Okay. That's good, because the name of this story is The Stubborn Turnip. You get to be the turnip. No, you're a tiny little turnip bulb. You have to get as small as you can be. Okay? There you are. And then every day, Grandpa comes out and talks to the turnip and says, turnip grows sweet and juicy.
Turnip grows sweet and juicy.
And that starts to have an effect on the turnip. The turnip starts to grow. And it grows, and it grows, and it grows, until it's sticking way up out of the ground. Grandpa's very pleased with this turnip. But one day, Grandpa was off on a different part of the farm. Not over here, Grandpa. Grandma came walking by. Grandma, I didn't forget about you. She came walking by. Now, Grandma likes to make sure that everything gets done. Everything gets done to the right amount of detail. So sometimes she'll follow behind Grandpa to make sure that it's done. You might know somebody like that at your house, too. But anyway, she comes walking by, and the first thing she notices is this turnip. She went, a turnip. You can say that. And then she decided to water the turnip. So she took her watering can and she watered that turnip. Go ahead. Yes. And then, because Grandma also was a good farmer and knew that every living thing needs attention, she decided to talk to the turnip too. She said, turnip, grow big and strong. Say that nice and loud. Okay. And so that turnip, after that, grew big and strong. Let's see, muscles in it. And sweet and juicy. It was a wonderful turnip. Wow. Now, Grandpa didn't know that Grandma knew about the turnip. And actually, Grandma didn't know that Grandpa knew about the turnip. And then one day, Grandpa looked out at that turnip and said, I'm going to get that turnip out of the ground before the field mice get it. So he came walking over to pull the turnip out of the ground. Come on over here, Grandpa. Now, Grandpa, just a moment. You probably have a TV at your house when you're not being Grandpa, right? Okay? When you're watching the television, you see people doing things on the screen, but you know they're not really doing those things most of the time. I mean, even on the reality shows, you can't be lost on an island if there's a TV camera there. So what you're doing is you're pretending. You're going to pretend to pull with all your might without pulling at all. Very good. Excellent job. And Grandpa tried to pull the turnip out of the ground, but the turnip wouldn't come out of the ground because it was a stubborn turnip. So Grandma, she came walking over and she saw this. She said, Grandpa, what are you doing with my turnip?
Grandpa, what are you doing with my turnip?
Grandpa let go of the turnip, turned to Grandma and said, what do you mean your turnip?
What do you mean your turnip?
Grandma said, I water that turnip every day.
I water that turnip every day.
Grandpa said, I talk to it.
I talk to it.
Grandma said, I talk to it too.
I talk to it too.
Grandpa said, well, I planted it.
Well, I planted it.
Well, as you can see, Grandma and Grandpa are having an argument. Now, when you have an argument, when you get mad at somebody, sometimes your face gets really funny looking. Next time you get mad, look in the mirror. It's kind of fun. Okay, so now your faces have to get all scrunched up. Now, the other thing that happens is that instantly when you get mad, there's a certain part of your brain that takes over. And it's not the thinking part of your brain. It's the other part of your brain, the very emotional part of your brain. It takes over and says, I'm in charge here. And so then it shuts off your ears so you don't listen. It shuts off your thinking. And it just takes over. And so that's what happened to Grandma and Grandpa. They quit listening to each other until finally they both went like this. They turned their backs on each other. Turned their backs on each other. And they didn't talk to each other for the rest of the day. They didn't talk to each other the next day either. People who lived nearby started to get worried. Just like when you get really angry and your family starts to worry about what's going on with you. Your friends start to worry too. And the people who live in the village, they started to worry. What's going on with Grandma and Grandpa? They're not paying attention to the farm anymore. They're not paying attention to each other. Are we going to get any vegetables this year? They really, everyone, even the animals heard about the flight. Well, after several days had gone by, Grandpa got up in the morning and looked in the mirror, and his face was better looking. His ears had opened up. His brain was working again. He said, all this fighting is not getting the turnip out of the ground.
All this fighting is not getting the turnip on the ground.
And so he came over to get the turnip out of the ground. Grandma got up that morning. She looked in the mirror, and her face was better looking too. See what I mean? Her ears had opened up, and she had an idea. She came walking over to Grandpa and said, Grandpa, I've got an idea. Why don't we pull up our turnip? Okay. All right. So Grandpa said, yes, let's work in it. Now, here, wait a minute, Grandma. Grandpa pulled the turnip. Grandma pulled Grandpa. Sorry about that. All right. And they, wait a minute, we're just acting now. They pulled, and they puffed, and they puffed, and they pulled, but still the turnip wouldn't come up because it was a stubborn turnip. So then Grandpa had an idea. He said, this is a stubborn turnip.
This is a stubborn turnip.
We need to soften it up.
We need to soften it up.
Let's sing to the turnip.
Let's sing to the turnip.
And so this is what they did. They sang to the turnip, and it went like this. We're all going to help them out, okay? It goes like this. Turnip, turnip, come on up. Turnip, turnip, come on up. Turnip, turnip, come on up. Then Grandpa grabbed the turnip, and Grandma grabbed Grandpa, and they pulled once again. And they pulled, and they puffed, and they puffed, and they pulled, and still that turnip wouldn't come out because it was a stubborn turnip. So then they decided to call in some help.